might be overkill, but I think these little need harmony badly. Must do, or I will not live. Okay. Yeah, cool. This way it's not stealing any attention from the other notes that are in this hook. That's fun. If these are time, well, which I've tried to do, then they could work, but I don't know that they're necessary. This is early. Fun. Okay. Why is that the longest fade in America? Okay, let's see. You need me like I you. Don't fuck you like I extra, like when say sexy. How you come to see the truth? You need me like I you.
Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, and in today's video we have behind the scene of Ariana Grande making her album of Petals Forever, and in the comment section we have Petal try here. Another says who is here before 1M. Another says she was cooking and did not burn the bacon. Another says test here. Another says who loves Ariana Grande. Another says this is like seeing a behind the scenes of Da Vinci painting the Mona Lisa. Another says who's here before 1M. Another says you made Petal impossible to sing. Another says can we get a deluxe version of Petal? Another says test here, another says try Petal here. What does it mean? Another says, yo, this feels illegal to be this early. Another says, who's here before 1 million. Another says, Petal and Eternal Sunshine are for life. Another says, second. Another says, it's like the Mona Lisa being painted. Another says, who typed Petal but didn't get anything. Another says, before. Who is here before 1 million. Another says, album of the year. Another says, I would see footage of you in the studio for hours, no jokes. Another says, who's here before 10K. Another says, Petal forever. Another says, Petal feels like such a beautiful new chapter. The way you turned every emotion into music is genuinely incredible. I'm so proud of you, Ariana, and so grateful that we get to experience this with you. This album feels so personal, honest, and beautiful. Thank you for always putting your heart into your art. Another says she's a true artist. Another says she's so beautiful. Another says I like do third single petition. Another says album of the year. Another says who loves Ariana. Another says before be a viral video. Another says Pata. Another says my favorite song this year. Another says favorite sticker right now. Another says she's literally so pretty. Another says we love you, Ari. Another says but I'm still Grande. Another says yay. Another says when the petals are over. Another says album of the year. Another says keep my heels tall, my ego small, but I'm still Grande. You killed that line. Another says petal forever. Another one says followed. Another says Ari, I love you so much. Another says album of the year. Another says who's here before 1M. Another says you're amazing. Keep making bangers, girl. Another says you're the best work. Another says 3 minutes. I love you, Ari. Another says Ariana is the best. Another says we love you so much, Ari. You're the best in the world. So, guys, these are all the comments that are under this behind the scenes video on Ariana's page. You can go follow her on TikTok and like and share this video. Love you all. Until the next video. Bye bye.